Hey, another big round of applause for Liz Becker. Hoping this works. Okay, great. Maybe you could start by introducing yourselves and naming your film. I hope that works.
Hello.
Yeah.
That feels right, right?
Hi, my name is Angela Cooper, and I'm the director and writer for Love in the Shadows.
Hi, my name is Sparkman Clark, and I'm the director and writer of Greta.
Yeah.
Maybe we could start the Q&A. I'll just ask you maybe what your inspiration for each of the films was.
Well, Greta kind of started out as like a jumble of complete nonsense and a quirky person who was going about trying to find her way in New York City. It honestly wasn't until my director of photography, who is here, Edgar Velez, we bumped into each other at work and decided we wanted to make a film together. That's when I actually started piecing together the rest of the story, making it about mental illness, making it about a bisexual woman who has no idea she's even in a closet, find herself. I'm projecting because I don't think this is working, but
Thank you.
there we go. And yeah, it really came about haphazardly and randomly because of my director of photography. So thanks, Edgar.
Wow. So for Love in the Shadows, it's so many layers to it, just how there's so many layers to me as a person. I think my first inspiration for it was like when I first wrote it, it was just about like a young woman who honestly just wants to end her life. And she has another woman who steps into her life, and then that kind of like saves her from herself, which is personal for me. And then it turned into me as a Black lesbian woman and just coping with the fact of like the struggles with my identity that I faced just growing up. I've known that I was interested in women since I was 6 years old, so it wasn't like I grew up very like, oh, he's a cute guy and stuff. I was like the 6-year-old looking at the girls like, ooh. So for me, I've always like battled with just like my sexuality growing up. And so for Love in the Shadows, I think I wanted to explore the idea of having like this young girl feel, in a sense, like boxed in with her brother's death, and then the fact that she deals with an overzealous like religious mom, and just having to, in her world, she feels like extremely just like closed in and boxed in, but then you have like this like breath of fresh air that steps into her life and like makes her feel like comfortable and loved again. And then I wanted to be a little bit bold with it. Growing up, when I came out to my mom, you know, the first thing she had told me was like, oh, well, what if you have sex with a man? Maybe it could change you and yada, yada, yada. So then I was like, how interesting would it be to have a mother like try to conform her daughter in a sense by allowing a man to then, take her virginity in a sense to see if that would change her. So that's kind of where that idea stemmed from, but yeah.
I guess we'll just all share this. I noticed in watching all the films, and maybe everyone else picked this up as well, there seemed to be, and maybe this is common in exploring homosexual identity, but a repressed or a submerged identity. I felt that with all the films. Even in the most joyous one, there was a response to being caged and then responding joyously. So I wonder, maybe that resonates with you, or if you'd like to say a little bit more about that.
All right, so going back to the idea that Greta is a bisexual woman who doesn't realize she's in a closet, anyone who's ever felt clinically depressed, you're gonna know that it feels like you're in a cage, that it's like a very weird cycle of got self-loathing, existential dread, hopelessness, and it's very self-centered. It's all self-centered around, selfish really, about you. It's all about you. And in Greta's case, all it took was a woman coming along and giving her her number, like, hey, call me, that finally broke that cycle. That for some reason, somehow that one act of kindness breaks that cycle, and that one thing starts cycling into Greta realizing, wait a second, it's not all about me. Here's this person in front of me who I have feelings for, whose problems are way bigger than mine. Way, way bigger than mine. And I guess as Greta learns this about herself, as she learns more about herself, it kind of comes back to only when you let love into your life, only when you accept who you really are, no matter how much you've suppressed it, no matter how much you think that side of you is dead, only then will you find that your depression starts to lift. Because if anybody has been like me who's experienced any sort of mental illness, you know that there is no snapping out of it. You can't. It's impossible. Yeah, it's only when you let love in, guys. That's the only way.
Yeah,
yours.
it was so good. Your movie, I resonate with that heavy.
Yo,
heavy,
yours
heavy,
had me
heavy.
like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
I was feeling all the emotions. I was like, that is my seat, girl.
That was the question.
How resonating being in a cage, your identity?
Repressed or
So-
submerged selves.
Yeah, I think, I guess for my character, I'm originally from Long Beach, California, and, my dad, he's Catholic, my mom, she's Christian, and, I would always grow up around, like, religion, whether it be, whatever religion it was, we were always in church on Sundays, and even as, 28-year-old, I still go to church, or try to make it to church every Sunday. But for me, it's just like a huge dichotomy between religion and sexuality, and how a lot of people that are a part of the LGBTQ community feels as if they cannot, it's like either one or the other. It's like, oh, you're Christian? Like a lot of people that like gay people that I experience in my life would be like, you go to church? And I'm like, yeah, is that bad? So for me, I guess I wanted to just show the struggles that my lead character had with dealing with a very religious mom, and then having this love interest who's her best friend, and then having those two worlds just kind of collide, and how the mom pretty much abuses her power with her spirituality. So yeah.
As fellow artists and filmmakers, I'm wondering if you could share any of the big complications you had in making, writing, producing the film,
Oh my God, where do we begin?
and that you overcame.
I'll
Give us a
start
little
this.
hope at the end of it.
I overcame it, okay.
For me, it was just difficult writing this film. I was in such a dark place actually when I wrote this film. I wrote the first draft, and I don't even remember what I wrote. That's how dark of a place I was at. Woke up completely hungover. I was like, what the fuck did I just write? But then I sent it to a producer friend of mine, and she was like, whoa, could be a story, girl. And I was like, really? She was like, yeah. So I just, sewed up, and then I started writing draft to draft to draft to draft to draft. And then, so I think the writing part was the hardest. And then, I don't know, directing was easy for me. I don't know, I'm such an emotionally raw person, and just real passionate. So I love that I have my actresses, Soleil, the little girls who played little Stacy, Alicia Powell, who played Deborah. Yeah, it was really easy working with my actresses. Luckily, they have the same passion, share the same passion that I do. And other than that, though, it was pretty simple getting camera crew and everybody together. So.
Oh God, as far as overcoming it, they say it takes a village when you're making a film. this experience taught me anything. Yes, it does. Leaning on my village, that's the whole reason I was able to do anything. Everyone from my mentor, Julian West, who, without whom I don't know where this film would be, to Edgar, to Callan, who was such an amazing co-star and acted so well when just, oh my God, you were amazing, Dave. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. To every person who donated money to our GoFundMe page, to every location that let us film there. Housing Works thrift store let us film there. Like, what? Like, people who just allowed me to be a filmmaker, who believed in the script that I wrote, who got behind me and said, yeah, let's do this. All of those people are the reason I was able to do anything. So, to my village, thank you guys. Really, thank you guys.
Maybe we could take some audience questions. We have time for a few questions.
Don't be shy.
Question, what'd your parents think of your film?
What did your parents
What
think
did
of
my
your
parents
film?
think of my film? Here, let's ask.
Dad, thank my dad for letting me use his house in my film. He also played the dad of one of the lead characters. Hey, Dad. Let's video of your dad. So how did you feel?
I thought it was wonderful. At first, when she told me that she had written this story, I didn't have a chance to. I had just come out from the West Coast and stuff, and I didn't have the chance to actually sit with her and overlook it. I used to do poetry at times and stuff, and I'm a painter, so I thought it was wonderful because she came out to me after, when she graduated from college. Her mother had already told me that, and I don't know why I was the last one. She came because she used to be like my little buddy, you know what I mean? And she came out to me. I never forget that, you know. And hey, I had to embrace her, you know, for a dad who loved his daughter, and you know how society is. I'll be very honest about that. At first, she like, oh my goodness. But over a period of time and stuff, you happen to just embrace her and love her, and I wanted her to actually be comfortable with who she really is, you know. And I love the film. I had a chance to be able to be around them when they were filming
Yes.
in New Jersey, and we had fun.
There you go.
Oh, do you want to know what my parents think of the film? Mom, do you really want to do you want to share how you feel about the film? Oh, okay, come on. Alex Clark, everybody. Hey, Mommy.
I'm pretty impressed. I'm like, well, is this working?
Yes, it is.
I'm not as good at public speaking as Sparkman is, but good job, Village, but this one doesn't give herself enough credit. She can write better than anyone I know.
You don't have to keep going.
That was so good. I gotta tell you, I am surprised how good that was. I'm like, wow. So I can't wait till the next one. But the biggest compliment to Sparkman is that I don't know anyone that can make a film about depression funny. And so I got handed to you. You made an awareness piece that was so spot on accurate, but you made it funny. And I'll watch it again. That's it. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, and also my mom did love the film. My mom was in California, but my mom did love the film, and she wanted me to let people know that that's not her in the movie. I have a really good mom. I have really good parents. So yes, okay.
Oh, guys, that was really touching. But I think it's technically cheating if your parents answer your questions. Right? I think that's pretty much cheating. Do we have any more questions from the audience? Right over here.
I'll just shout. I think for most of us, just any one aspect of filmmaking seems intimidating, like just writing the score or writing the script or acting. And you both seem so confident and comfortable with what you've done, but it seems from the outside really daunting and scary to try to wrap your head around all the different parts. Can you just speak to how you address that?
It still is, man, and we do it anyway.
Yeah, I always say like working in film, there's some sort of insanity that you have to have because it really isn't easy at all. Long hours, man. I mean, I have to sacrifice so much, I mean, relationships are hard, intimate relationships are hard, having to spend time with friends and then make time for work and then make time for your parents. Sometimes, like I even tell my dad, sometimes I don't answer him the phone call. He used to always be like, I don't get it. And then finally he was on set for 14 hours. It was like, okay, baby, now I see why you don't text me back right away. Now I see why you don't call me back. And I'm just like, it's a lot of sacrifices. So, for the parents and the friends and the lovers, I'm single, but for the lovers that, for everybody that experiences that are literally in our lives, thank you so much because we know we are not easy, and we know that there is literally a certain patience that you have to have with us when we're writing, and then we're talking to you about all of our ideas, and then we're going crazy, and then, yeah, so thank you for everyone in this room. Everybody's appreciated in this room, I swear to God. So.
Going off of that, you quite literally have to be crazy to even attempt it. And even though it's daunting, even though it'll never be perfect, even though you'll never stop criticizing yourself or your work, you gotta create because I think the both of us have a story that we wanted to share. We had a message that we wanted to share, and you guys showed up for it. So long as you guys keep going to the movies, so long as you keep showing up for us, we'll keep doing it. That's what it comes down to.
I think we have time for one more question.
Sparkman, exactly how many times have you watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off? And I have a second question. What kind of name is Sparkman?
I just want to how many times have you watched Ferris Bueller, and what kind of name is Sparkman?
And what kind of name is Sparkman?
All right.
Sparkman is a very, 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 very old family name that dates all the way back to the 17th century when James Sparkman came up from the Revolutionary War to New York City.
You better tell him about the history.
I'll get into the history later, but I've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off 2 times.
This is a very specific question. For anyone who wants to follow these films, can you tell us how we can follow them, or if they'll be premiering at any festivals in the future?
Yeah, so Love in the Shadows, well, it's got into quite a few. It's premiering next weekend in New Jersey at the Newark International Film Festival, and then another one coming up, well, it's in Miami. I have a premiere in Miami, and then Atlanta, and then another one in Queens, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
it's Screening Friday.
But you can follow me on Instagram at _AnjaleOfficial. That's my Instagram. But as far as the film, it's not public yet because it's still film festival circuit, so yeah.
So I'm likewise in the film festival circuit. Next on the list is the San Jose Festival in, before that, Greta got in for the Iris Prize in the UK in Cardiff, Wales. We are a finalist for the largest international LGBTQ shorts film festival in the world. I love that you already know it exists, but yeah, we're one of 36 films. That's in early October. Then we hit the West Coast end of October. We'll see how many festivals we continue to get into, but you can follow me at Sparkman Clark, and you can follow Greta the Short on Instagram. I'm not much of a social media person, but you know, we'll see where Greta goes. We'll see how far she can get.
Any other projects in the works right now?
Yeah, quite a few things coming up.
That could be the answer.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say is my next film, I'm gonna be directing it in Mexico, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
A very controversial pilot that I've written is next on the list for me. But that's the next time I go around at this, I'm going to have learned much more. So we'll see when it happens, but that's the pilot that I've written is next.
Great, big cliffhangers. Thank you guys on behalf of Big Apple Film Festival. I'm Michael Warren Anderson. Thank you guys for sharing. Have a good night, guys.